RT. Several detainees in Libya have died in recent weeks as a result of torture, according to Amnesty International. The human rights group says the crimes were committed by the Libyan military and security forces. Thousands of Gaddafi loyalists remain behind bars, now suffering the same atrocities handed out under the late colonel's regime. RT's Maria Finoshina has more.
Doctors Without Borders, known for going to their job in the most dangerous and notorious places around the globe. But in NTC-run Libya, the group has encountered a formidable obstacle they couldn't overcome. Burns from electric shocks and cigarettes, heavy bruising and renal failure. All this evidence of the continued torture of prisoners, say the doctors. And now, after 2 inmates died from beatings, the international group has stopped its mission in protest.
Patients were brought to us in the middle of interrogation for medical care in order to make them fit for further interrogation. This is unacceptable. Our role is to provide medical care to war casualties and sick detainees, not to repeatedly treat the same patients between torture sessions.
The news comes amidst rising anger with Libya's interim government. Demonstrations in Benghazi last week ended with the resignation of a high-ranking member of the NTC. In the former Gaddafi stronghold of Bani Walid, locals pushed out the Transitional Council forces, claiming systematic abuse.
It started with the very beginning of the rebellion, the very beginning of the insurrection. The second day of the rebellion, on 18th of February, 50 African migrants were rounded up, locked in a detention centre and burnt to death. And the NTC expressed their support for this kind of behaviour. This is part of the strategy of the West, divide and rule. That was given the green light for the torture and the execution that we're seeing now. So this is a clear recipe for civil war.
Meanwhile, the NATO operation that brought the NTC to power is by itself raising questions. A high-profile international team of human rights activists has been to Libya to investigate.
Some of NATO representatives were with the revolutionaries in the fronts, and they were guiding the air raids and directing them and coordinating them. If you are mandated to protect civilians, that's not your mandate.
It is very, very accurate in a way that I myself saw the killing of so many people in front of my eyes. I saw the killing of 51 people in front of my eyes. The youngest was 15 years old.
And while all sides in the Libyan conflict are to blame for violence and violations, the human rights activists claim not all of them have been held responsible for their wrongdoings. Investigating what happened during Libya's 7-month civil war and the NATO campaign to protect civilians, this fact-finding mission discovered, again, crimes against humanity. But the goal was not to judge, but to shed light on what happened and not to repeat deadly mistakes. A recent United Nations report has revealed that up to 8,000 pro-Gaddafi supporters are being held by militia groups in Libya right now. And with numerous accusations of torture and revenge killing throughout the country, hopes of a new beginning for Libya are fading quickly. Maria Finoshina, RT.